Hello. Um, Rihanna here. I have a dream that God has put on my heart. It's been on my heart for about 2 years now, since the beginning of the pandemic. And He's been really tugging at my heart to make a video about this dream that I had. So, of course, this is my first YouTube video. So, bear with me. My hope for releasing this dream, is that it reaches somebody who is dealing with a similar situation, or not. Just it reaches somebody and kind of allows them to know that there is a God, and He will one day come back, and He will come back for a bride without spot, blemish. So I'm hoping that this video could save at least one person. And with that being said, I just want to let the viewers know that I'm not perfect by far, but I'm just a person who is willing to allow God to use me, and who, a person who loves God. So, without further ado, I'll get into the dream that I had. Shay was an African American mother who hit the jackpot. So the way that I formatted this dream was in kind of like a text format. So it goes: frantically yelling, "We won the lottery. We finally have been blessed with more than enough finances to provide a suitable house to house us all." Shay was an African American mother who was a single parent, and she had 6 children, and she opened her doors to children, her children's friends in the neighborhood, and to her relatives' children. So, on top of her 6 children, she had other children living in the house with her. So she goes in to say how she won the lottery, and she explained to her family, "I knew it all day today," as she leaped for joy over and over, with the children joining in the excitement with her. Shaking the 3-bedroom house and 1 bathroom, Shay and her children instantly began searching for a realtor and started the process in looking for housing. After viewing numerous amounts of houses or properties, the family was exhausted until they traveled deep into the beautiful city of the Brotherly Love City, where there were trees and deeply wooded areas. The family entered into a house that a realtor took them to after searching for many properties. So as the family entered the small town, they drove by this circular flatbed wagon, a hay wagon, that had rows going up into a shape similar to a serpent coiled up, resting on itself. On each row sat robed in black cloaks with conical hoods and upside down crosses on the front of the hoods. They were all sitting on each row, going up to the top. They were all filling the hay wagon. So the kids and Shay, as they were going into the Brotherly Love city or town, they seen this hay wagon, but they didn't pay any attention to it. So they kept driving until they reached the house. Finally reaching the house, the family eyes lit up as though they had found a diamond in the rough. Unloading from the vehicle, they began to rush into the house. Upon entering the house, they were amazed at the circular teepee barn-like structured house. They had never seen any house like it before. Throughout the house, there are mirrors on every wall, yielding the most beautiful rounded staircase that led from the top of the house down to the bottom of the house. They started to pick out the rooms that they wanted to call their own rooms. After viewing every room in the house, they decided that that was the house they would purchase. While Shay's children were looking out of the window, they seen these smaller white children peering in through the window. When Shay's children started to look at the other children that were peering in through the window, the children started laughing with a demonic laugh, and ran into the woods. But before they disappeared into the woods, they all stood in a format into a line, what looked like to be the oldest to the youngest, just standing and looking at Shay's children, making sure they were seen, then quickly disappearing into the woods again. Shay's children thought it was weird, but still not giving it much thought. It says in the Bible that the children of God will perish for the lack of knowledge. So the first night, Shay and the children stayed in the house. Shay's children came across this one room that they didn't notice when they were first searching through the house. The older children ran into the room. When they were in the room, they saw what appeared to be a shrine, an altar, with the deity on the altar by the name of Ishtar. Again, the children didn't know what the altar was or what the deity was. They all started to touch the deity and instantly fell into a trance right where they were standing. The children had astral projected into another realm where they were lured into sexual activities, and their physical genitals began to vibrate intensely. Even the nipples on the young girls were vibrating, and they were stimulating the children. And the children they immensely enjoyed the stimulation feeling. So after what seemed like a second, they had came back into their physical bodies, only to realize that they were under a trance, and that they were under that trance for hours. When Shay came home, none of the children told Shay about the room or what they had experienced. Instead, they visited the room often and more, never realizing that they were going deeper and deeper into this demonic realm. One night, the young white children that was peering in through the window, looking at Shay's children, they somehow got into the house, and they were creeping into all the other of Shay's children's room, and they started to stab the children that were laying in their beds in the rooms, and they were chanting, "You can never leave Anubis, or Anubis always lives." One of Shay's youngest, or one of Shay's daughters noticed that the children were in the house, and she seen that they were stabbing her siblings. So she started to pray, and she believed in her heart that God would hear her and she would be covered by the blood of Christ, and that she would be saved. So she found a room after hiding or running and hiding. She found a room where she started to sit down and started to pray and just kind of sob. So, as she was praying, the oldest of the white child that intruded into the house, she sat down next to the young lady. And this act of her sitting down next to Shay's child gave her a sense that the young girl wouldn't stab her, and that she was backing down because Shay's child was praying. So she started to pray harder, and just call on the name of God and Jesus, and and the young white girl that sat down beside her, she started to laugh, and she said, "You can never leave Anubis, and Anubis would never die." And what Shay's daughter didn't realize was that the more she engaged in visiting that room with the shrine and astral projecting into a different realm and rubbing that deity, that she was sending her soul farther and farther into hell. So the young white girl that was sitting next to her, she started to laugh, and she took out this long rectangular sharp knife, and she stabbed it into Shay's daughter, under her neck, and it went all the way up through her face and out the top of her skull. And as soon as Shay's daughter opened her eyes, and she was in hell. And the dream ended. So as graphic as this may sound, it's not for all audience, or it could be. It's just a story. It's just a dream that I had, and I've interpreted this dream into meaning. The further we engage into demonic activities and into things that feels good, the further we are putting our souls into eternal damnation. And we as humans think that we have time to get it right, and since we know God, and we know how to pray, that we'll be saved. But that's not the issue, or that's not the case, because the further we get involved into these things, the further we dig our way down, and the longer it takes us to get out of the things that we involved ourselves into. So hopefully this video on the stream that I had encourages someone to seek for God more and more, and to let go of the things that are considered the norm, and let go of those things that feel good and that pleases us for a season, because it's not worth it. So I love you with the love of Christ, with agape love, and be bold and courageous for God, no matter how odd you may seem, no matter how much you stand out. None of that matters. So I love you, and have a blessed day.